Paranormal View. The Paranormal View. Time now for the Paranormal View. The Paranormal View on the Para X Radio Network with your host, Henry Foister, Craig Rupp, and Jeffrey Gould. The Paranormal View.
Welcome, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the Para X Radio Network. I want to thank everybody for being here listening tonight and for those from around the world. And if you're not over here with us at the Para X chat room, please come on over, para-x.com, and sign in as a guest, and you'll be right in with all these wonderful people. You'll be able to interact with our guest by sending questions to either myself, Jeffrey, or CC, which is known as Ceiling Cat, and which I do want to introduce them tonight. We do have CC with us.
Hi, Henry.
Oh, and we have Jeffrey.
Hello, hello.
All right. And we do have a guest tonight. I was just wondering, did you have all the good stuff, the bio and everything, Jeff, to... No, just...
Wait a minute, I'm just trying to see if I do or not. No, nothing official. I've been sort of running around getting ready to do a student film today, so I apologize for that.
Well, I can do a short one, and then I'll let her talk for about an hour or so. But tonight we got a great show lined up, and we got some announcements we're going to be making later on in the show that you'll need to stick around and listen to those. So with our guest here and CC chomping at the bit to ask questions tonight, I'm going to go ahead and get things rolling here. Tonight we have Kat Klockow, and if you're in the chat room, she is listed as Urban Cat. So she is the author of Haunted Hoosier Halls of Indiana University. She's an investigator, and she's also known as the Urban Legends Detective. And I'm sure that she'll be able to add a whole lot more than just that once I let her get started here. So with that, I want everybody to welcome Kat tonight.
Hello, everyone.
Well, it's more
I'm
like
back.
cat and cat, really. I mean,
Cat and cat.
We got a bunch of cats running around here tonight.
Meow.
Yeah. Now, I think I was reading a little bit on your bio, kind of, and it said you started at an early age. So why don't you start by telling us what put you into the paranormal?
Well, I will say it wasn't horror movies. Those still scare me to this day, as they should, but I can't stand watching them. When I was 9, I saw the apparition of my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, walk up the stairs from the first floor of my parents' house, turn right, walk right past me and into the linen closet. And since then, I have been curious about all things paranormal, specifically ghosts and urban legends.
and why they seem compelled to do the laundry, I
don't know why the linen closet. It must have been those pillowcases. They were just so excellently pressed. Anyway. So, I started collecting books about, not urban legends, but ghost stories. The first one I had was Haunted Ohio. That's by Chris Woodyard. And I think that was, the first book of hers was published in 1992, and I grabbed it that year. And she has several other Haunted Ohio books. I have the entire series signed by her. And after a trip to London in 1997, I grabbed ghost books of haunted history. And since then, I've been collecting books about haunted locations. And now my library has over 200 books about haunted regions, cities, countries, you name it. So,
exactly how many different countries have you been to?
oh man. Let's see. I've been America, Canada, uh, England, Japan, and that's it oh, France. How did I forget about that? I visited Paris a few years ago. So 5 at
Uh,
the moment.
yeah, it's just France.
Oh, it's just France.
Actually, if I went to France, the only thing I'd really be interested in would be Notre Dame, the catacombs, and oddly enough, the Paris sewers, which do have tours.
Oh, I know they do. Unfortunately, when I visited, the catacombs were under reconstruction to make sure they didn't cave in on people like me visiting them. So I wasn't able to go there, but I did get to spend an evening in a haunted chateau just outside of Versailles. So, oh, that was excellent.
Versailles is beautiful.
Oh, it is. It was breathtaking.
Incredible.
My former friend who lost her mind during the first show that I hosted on the Paranormal View used to go to the Cannes Film Festival. I doubt able to afford that anymore, and I'm sure she can't get anybody to watch her dog that won't insist on money. But when she was at a chateau she had rented with some other friends, they were having paranormal activity. They had chess pieces moving around on a board by themselves.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
And she was the only person not freaking out because she'd heard so much from me of this stuff. So for her, it was like, St. Badger's not here.
That would be very neat to be able to see that. I think I'd really like to see that. I'd be backing up saying, "Oh, did you see that? Did you see that?"
Oh my God, he went for checkmate. You know.
Well, now in Versailles, they had a lot with World War I and World War II fighting and dying and all that stuff in that area. So you would think that there should be a lot of paranormal activity through there.
Yeah, there probably is. I will admit France and its ghost stories are not my strong point. That would be Japan. But I would imagine that the French, from what I gather, have a very almost laissez-faire. Haha, I use French.
I got it.
I cracked myself up. Anyway, they kind of like a lot of British do, where ghosts are a fact of life. They don't get as excited about them as Americans tend to.
It's just like, so then that's just a ghost. You don't have to worry.
Yeah, that was the attitude I got from the residents of the chateau I visited. They're like, yeah, we have a lady in white. She shows up in our kitchen from time to time.
Yeah. Well, now,
as long as she doesn't touch the cheese, we're okay.
Well, they had the plague back way then, so they have a lot more going on.
Yes.
But of course, Japan is just crowded with ghosts.
Oh, yes, it is. It is just.
Yeah,
there's so many.
That's one of the things that I had. You do have lots of good stories from a lot of places. As you spent how much, a year in Japan?
I lived there for a year from 2004 to 2005. However, I've been there 4 times.
Wow. So what are some of the differences of investigating there compared to here?
Apart from a language barrier, I guess.
Well, yeah, other than that.
I'm sure, yeah.
The big key thing is they don't do ghost hunts or investigations like we know of them here. They don't go around old homes really and with recorders and specifically ask for the dead to talk to them. That's just not really done. They
honor and respect the dead, but they're not really jumping up and down about communication.
Yeah.
That's pretty much.
Yeah, they do believe that the dead can communicate through dreams. There's a saying in Japan that you're born Shinto, marry Shinto, and die Buddhist. So anything that would be really ghost related, we'd be dealing with mostly Buddhist
philosophy,
theology. So Shintoism, for listeners who may not know, viewers like you, is what is the traditional religion of Japan that we know of. The way it's structured now is only about 200 years old, but it really believes in worshiping what are known as kami, or elementals of trees, of water, of fire, of your house. And when you buy a car, before you build a house, when your baby is born, you want to bless those items or those people to make sure the kami are with them. I actually took part in a house blessing ceremony before my host sister had her house built. And we had to do the ceremony to make sure that the spirits of the earth were appeased with the house being built on top of them. And
Okay.
in Toyota, Toyota City is actually just outside of where I lived, Nagoya. And
Is that actually where the cars started? Is
Yes,
that where
it
they got
is.
the name? I never knew that's where the name
it's
came
actually
from.
from a family.
Right.
It's not Toyota, it's
Oh.
Toyoda. The family name is Toyoda. But yeah. Anyway, what I'm getting back to is a lot of times when people in Japan buy a new car, they have a little ceremony that they do, and a Shinto priest will come and bless the car to make sure it doesn't get into accidents. So,
Nice.
yeah, I have one of those charms in my own car right now. So,
Now, most of the spirits that are talked about in Japanese lore tend to be angry spirits, correct?
yes, they don't have a realm of happy spirits. And the Buddhist ones, yeah, I was always funny. In the Buddhist rings of life, if you can think of them like a ladder, there's 6 of them. And being a living person is actually only, let's see, you got hell, hungry ghosts. You're only 3 steps up if you're a human. The realm above us is known as the realm of vengeful spirits or angry ghosts. And when I was learning about this, I'm like, wow, isn't that pleasant? Just always be angry. And these are the spirits that people can channel and send to other people to cause illness. It's kind of like astral projection, but you can use either your ancestors or even your own soul to cause illness to other people. And this is written a lot during their medieval period. A lot of the stories where a lot of the ghost stories come from, that's written up it was always a woman attacking another woman with her astral projection and causing illness and death. The most famous is actually from a work of fiction known as The Tale of Genji, or Hikari no Genji. And there's a consort that kills Genji's wife.
Nice.
Now,
So
Yeah,
what happens to-
you don't hear about happy spirits.
I was going to say, what happens to the people who die and they're relatively at peace or happy? Do they have to become angry? I mean,
No, usually they're reincarnated.
oh.
Yeah.
So if you die in Japan, you should die really ticked off.
Oh, yeah.
and my only question is, who would want to come back here?
Oh, isn't that what we're trying to answer all the time, Henry? That's the big question. It goes with the meaning of life is what? 42?
Now, did you visit the haunted forest?
I did. Aokigahara.
And did you find anything there? Now, I know that when Ghosted, no,
It was Destination Truth.
yeah, who saw the bones and what have you.
Yes. I have been through the Aokigahara, or the Sea of Trees, because, Aokigahara just rolls off the tongue so easily. I kind of think of it as a song. When the people I was with, they did not want to stop. And the one time they really were afraid that, not of ghosts, but they would find a dead body, because the reputation of that forest is it's just littered with bodies, and if you go anywhere off of the road, you're just going to trip over a corpse. This is a little known fact. It wasn't addressed in the episode. They actually have a road that is engraved so that when you run your wheels over it, when you drive over it, it plays Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
Oh, really?
No.
It's very cute.
Huh.
This is going right through the Aokigahara. The reason being is to keep your mind off of the macabre landscape you're driving through And to just think of, oh, it's the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Isn't that fantastic?
Also, the alphabet song.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, did they ever have a body count? I know it's known as the suicide forest, but do they have a body count?
It changes from year to year, but they do release in, I believe that's Shizuoka Prefecture, how many people have been found. And it will range anywhere between 200 to 500 people, depending really on how the economy has been going.
Wait, you mean 2 as in 1 2 or 200 to 500?
200 to 500 people are found. It's estimated that anywhere between 1,500 to 2,500 people actually commit suicide there every year.
every year.
You just can't find everyone.
Wouldn't you run out of Japanese people by that time? Pretty soon.
I always wondered, but no.
No.
You visit Tokyo, and there's people everywhere.
Well, now, Japan's not really all that large of a country.
That's about the size, a little bit larger than the size of California, but they can only use about, I think, 20% of their land. I may be a little bit wrong on that statistic. The
Why?
rest of it's all mountains and just
Oh, is that right?
occupied by boars and wild bears.
Wow. So how much are they able to have for farmland?
Not a lot. Farmland's extremely expensive. That's why, like, Kobe beef, which is raised just outside the city of Kobe, is so expensive because finding green pastures for all of those cattle is extremely expensive to keep that unoccupied by buildings. So if you're ever at a restaurant that serves it and you see it's almost $50 for a few ounces, the reason is it's not only that, they also massage the cattle to make sure that all the fat is equally distributed within the muscle. But
Wow.
yeah, they get pampered.
I would say so. Of course, if you're
Of course,
getting
the end is pretty bad.
if
That's pretty bad, yes.
you're getting
But
$50
delicious.
an ounce.
Yeah. But
Now, I'm wondering if you heard a lot of stories post-atomic bomb era ghosts as opposed to the more traditional spirits.
there are a few, and the stories that I've heard are very similar to what we would report in America. There's a few different beliefs, which I will explain in a second, that would lend to why ghosts will hang around for a few days after death. In Buddhism, it is believed the spirit of the person will actually roam the earth for about 49 days after death. And they'll cremate the body and they'll finally bury the body or intern it about 49 days after the person has passed away. A good example of a story is my host family. Before I lived with them, they had the grandfather that lived in the house with them. It's not uncommon to have many generations living in the same household. And he passed away a year before I moved there. For 49 days after he had passed away, they would have their doorbell ring. And they also had a security system where video cameras would automatically turn on and record whenever anyone approached the door. Those would go off about twice a day.
So those are motion sensor video cameras?
Motion sensor video cameras with a light. So often it was cats. And we could always tell when it was cats because we would just see their tail and their hind legs just at the very edge of the photo or of the video. But what was really strange was for those 49 days, they had the doorbell ring and the video cameras would go off and no one, no cat, no birds were videotaped.
Wow.
And it creeped my host mother out.
Huh.
She loved him a lot. She loved the grandfather. It was her husband's father who passed away, but she would be home alone and the doorbell would ring at night and no one would be there.
Oh,
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
that's where Henry wants to stay.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
right.
And Tim Shaw. That would be great. Oh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, get us together. Yeah, that's all you need. I do want to remind everybody, if you do have questions for Kat Klockow, you can private chat them to either CC or Jeffrey or myself, and we'll get them right over to her. So, very fascinating, though. Now, you speak Japanese fairly well. Did you learn Japanese before you went over there, or you learned it after you got there going to school there?
No, I knew Japanese before I moved there. I've been taking it since 10th grade in high school.
Who's fixing a bicycle?
That would be my 8-month-old puppy playing with one of his squeak toys at the most unopportune time possible.
That's all right. At least we
Sorry,
know.
guys.
At least we know what it is, anyway.
Yeah, it's not paranormal. It's just Wheatley. And he's across the room, so I can't take it from him. My mic doesn't stretch that far.
We'll be taking a break here shortly, anyway.
Yes, I'll take it away from him.
So, what are some of the good ghost stories or urban legends from Japan, other than the ones that where you were staying there?
The most popular legend is actually very familiar to American moviegoers because it was the basis for The Ring, the movie The Ring.
I've seen both the Japanese version and the American version, and they're both really good.
Yes, I've seen the Japanese version, and there's the character Sadako. Well, the story is actually based off of what's known as an Edo period. Edo period was about the 1600s. A story about a servant named Okiku who ended up making her samurai master very angry because she broke some of his plates, his china plates. At the time, having Western china plates was an incredibly prized thing. Breaking one of them, it wasn't surprising that her master threw her down a well, breaking her neck. He had 13 plates. She broke the 13th one. He got angry, broke her neck, threw her down a well. The well still exists at Himeji Castle. And that's near Osaka, I believe. So the ghost has been known, or traditionally known, to walk into the house, count each plate, and at the 13th plate, just break into moaning and crying and all that good traditional ghost stuff, like rattling the chains. She seems to be a residual apparition, but people have claimed to be walking around the castle grounds at night and see a ghost literally float out of the well. If you've seen The Ring, you have Sadako, who literally crawls out of the well. Then you have all the urban myth with the videotapes being added onto it, making it a very, very scary movie. Very good movie. But Okiku is probably the most notable ghost and probably the most frequently used when you talk about Japanese ghost stories.
Well, did you ever see Godzilla?
No.
Or Gojira, as it was known. In whatever year, it fluctuates depending on where you read. It was either 1957 and 1955, backwards and forwards, when it was made.
Or what was the bird one? Rodan?
Rodan, the pterodactyl, yeah.
And Mothra.
And Mothra, yeah.
Mothra's my favorite.
Which version, as a caterpillar or as a moth?
Oh, the moth, of course.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Caterpillar's not very scary.
Well, he makes a cute little sound. He uses the cocoon web as a weapon, pretty much.
So he's Spider-Man?
Well, it's better than Speedora, who was the creature in Son of Godzilla, which is the giant spider.
And Ghidorah was the
three-headed
turtle, right?
No, Gamera. That's Ghidorah is Gamera is the turtle, and Ghidorah is the three-headed golden dragon that spits lightning bolts.
Who were those two little girls that did the singing or whatever it was?
They were simply called the fairies, and they essentially were the guardians of Mothra.
Oh, okay.
Did I mention I was raised on Japanese monster movies?
I need to watch a whole lot more of them. I've just seen the original Godzilla.
Yeah. They released the commemorative edition that has both the original Japanese version and the Americanized version.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Who dropped off?
I believe Jeff.
Would be Jeff.
Let me get him up here.
Godzilla got him.
It says we got a problem, so it's going to try and get him back. Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, then all of yous are going to be dropped off. And then I'll have to call yous all back in. So Skype does things like this from time to time.
Technology.
It's wonderful.
Still trying to
because we were just
back.
getting into the whole.
There he is.
There we go.
All right.
My computer's had a really weird thing lately. It's decided on occasion just to ignore my router. It's just like, meh. So I think I'm going to have to get a new router or something. And it decides that all of a sudden, you have no keyboard and your mouse isn't connected. I'm like, no, really, it is. And then it just decides, I see you plugged it in. I'm like, it was already plugged in. So.
Well, Cece, have you got a quick question you want to ask before we go to our first break?
You know, at this point,
what? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know. With me without a question, this is really bad. Well, I guess
if you want to wait till after break,
yeah,
that's
I
fine.
think I'm gonna wait till after break.
Okay, then I got one more. Then we'll ask real quick, like before we go to break, and it'll probably pretty much end with Japan, and unless somebody else has got any more questions for it. Did you get to investigate over there, and did you get any evidence over there?
No, I did not. It's, like I said, it's kind of a faux pas to go do that. But for those who are interested, there is a university in Kyoto, and I need to look this all up, that does collect true ghost story accounts of hauntings in houses. And I believe it's something like the Kyoto International Department of Paranormal Phenomena. It's a really long name. And I ran across it a few years ago, and I did save it, but I've lost where my bookmark went.
It's interesting, though, because as they look down upon ghost hunts, television programming has a lot of paranormal shows.
Yeah, I do want to note one thing. There is a ghost hunt or ghost tour, a haunted Tokyo tour that you can go purchase tickets for and do. It's for foreigners, hosted by foreigners, and I have not been on it. It launched after I was there last in November of 2010, but I do plan on going on it.
The Kyoto International what a paranormal phenomenon?
It's Department of Paranormal Phenomenon, or I will look for it during our break to see if I can find it for everyone. With regards to their programming, the TV programming, you see a lot of the clips on YouTube. They are reenactments of ghost stories from different prefectures. Prefectures are like states here. And August is known as the month of the dead. And the reason being is because the Obon festival is when all of your spirits, when your family comes back. It's a large festival. People will clean off the headstones. They burn balsa wood to have smoke trails go up to heaven to lead their ancestors back down to visit. The ancestors visit for about a month, and then they burn more balsa wood or take lanterns and have them float down rivers to send the spirits back. And so August is when you see all of those ghost stories, and that's really the only time of the year that paranormal investigation would be seen as a legitimate thing. Because according to Buddhist theory, at least some of them, there's so many different sects of Buddhism. Besides Zen, there's more to it than that. They believe that ghosts would only be available to interact with during the month of August.
Huh.
So,
Because that's their vacation, and that's when they're over here, I guess. And
yeah, I guess so. But the only other time of year that family members will clean off headstones is at New Year's.
Ah.
Well, August would be the traditional harvest time, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
So it would coincide with our October harvest things.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good thing to point out. Yes.
Very good.
I'm so much more of a Taoist.
Yes, I love the bureaucracy of the afterlife and burning small paper things to send to my ancestors.
All right, we're going to jump off, take a break. One thing I want to let everybody know is some people get some really odd names, as you'll find out coming up in a little bit. So with that, I'm going to let Jeffrey take us out to break. How's that sound?
Okay, well, you're listening to the Paranormal View on para-x.com with our guest author, Kat Klockow, and tonight's co-host ceiling cat, Barbara Duncan. So stay tuned while we change the litter box.
Don't go away. The Paranormal View will be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the Para-X Radio Network. And for those thousands upon thousands listening from around the world, want to welcome you right here with us and those that are here in the chat room. And if you're not here in the chat room, come on over to para-x.com and hit join the chat, and you can be right in here with all these wonderful people, and you can interact with us by asking questions. Tonight with us, we got Cece.
Howdy.
And we got Jeffrey. Do we have Jeffrey?
Oh, no.
No, yeah, sorry. I remember to mute my microphone. Sometimes I have to remember to put it back on.
And, of course, we have our guest tonight, Kat Klockow.
Good evening.
Yeah, she's an author and everything else that you can think of in between. So, welcome back. And I know Cece was having lots of questions, is what she told me, but then all of a sudden her mind went blank and she couldn't think of them.
Oh, dear.
So,
I was having a para moment.
Well, just remember, if you do have questions, you got to slug your way in to ask. Yeah. So step right up. You know how they say, fetch your hat, and however that song goes, Mickey Mouse thing, you know. So, you live in Cincinnati.
Yes, I do.
And what are some of the places that you've investigated around here?
Around Cincinnati, the first one would be the Loveland Castle. That's in Loveland, Ohio. I'm pretty sure, I think it's Chateau La Roche is its proper name, but everyone just calls it the Loveland Castle.
It's easier. That's easier.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Mm-hmm. And I'm not quite sure my pronunciation was correct, but I'm sure I'll be corrected someday. Now, I did fail French, so.
Oh. If you don't know about the Loveland Castle, you can get on the internet and type in Loveland Castle, and it'll bring it right up. It looks like a kind of a medieval castle.
Yes.
The guy built it, I guess, pretty much by himself. I'm sure he had people helping him, but he took the rocks out of the Little Miami River and built the whole castle. Yeah.
I think it's either Sir Harry or Sir Henry. I get it mixed up. But from 1926 to 1983, he hand-built this Norman castle. And it's a real castle. He had help from the Knights of the Golden Trail, which are like the Boy Scouts. And that organization actually owns and maintains this site now. And I know every year they host several ghost hunters or paranormal investigators to hunt this place. And I've had lots of activity there when I've gone.
Well, that's interesting. I've been over it 3 or 4 times before I had anything to do with being into the paranormal. So I have walked around it once, excuse me, since then. And it was in the daytime with other people around. So I really couldn't get very much in the way of EVP or anything like that. But
Right.
it is a real interesting place. So it's a good place, and they do allow investigations. I guess your group would have to contact them to set up a time to do it.
Yeah. But no, they love it. Depending on which night you talk to, they either have a lot of ghost stories or none at all. So it just completely depends on what knight or lady you speak to. But when I was there, we had a very tall shadow person walking around the cathedral room, which is on the 2nd story in the more recent addition to the castle. It's the part where the Knights of the Golden Trail had to finish the castle because the original architect passed away before he was done. But we were outside, the group and I were outside actually sitting around a bench area that had been carved out of stone, and we looked over at the cathedral room and we can see something very tall stalking around that room. And immediately myself and another investigator just ran into the building and ran up very carefully the staircases, because the staircases are exactly like what you would find in England or other parts of Europe. The Norman staircases are incredibly not steep. They're very shallow, but very small stairs, so you can trip over one of them very easily.
Right, and the halls going up
Yeah.
with the stairs is very narrow too.
Yeah, you can fall down very easily. So as quickly as you can gingerly walk up or run up a staircase, we got to the 2nd floor and there was no one in the building. And we had walkie-talkies on us, and I walkied over to the group that was sitting outside, and they could still see the thing walking to and fro, but there was nothing moving in that room. No one was walking in there. There was nothing hanging down that could have been mistaken as being a shadow person from like a light or light fixture. I'm 5'2", and I walked around the room, and I was far too short to reenact what the shadow thing was projecting. The other investigator was 6 foot, and he was still too short to project the correct silhouette against the windows. And the windows are all stained glass there, so you couldn't see clearly in anyway. And they're tiny little, maybe 4 to 5 inches in width, because they're made to mimic those arrow notches that you'd see in old castles. And they didn't open. So we could not recreate it. And what was creepy was when we were in the room trying to recreate the shadow, our outside investigators could still see it walking around us. But we couldn't see anything. There wasn't any cold spots. There was no abnormalities reading on any meter we had. So it remains a mystery.
So what
Was that lead glass windows?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Leaded glass window panes.
So
And they have a storm glass over it now to protect them because they're so old.
So what are some of the other places that you've done?
Oh, let me think here. I have gone and visited Bellbrook, Ohio. It's in between Cincinnati and Dayton.
Right.
And it used to be a magnetic spring. It was very popular for the entire town. It was very popular for the healing properties of their magnetic spring. And there is an old general store that I investigated at the Bellbrook on Lockdown convention. That was this October over Halloween weekend. And this is very strange. I don't use a whole lot of spirit box sessions, even though now I do own a spirit box. this was the first time I actually was in a room during a live spirit box session, and we were listening for things, and it's going through the radio stations very quickly. And the spirit box, the SB7, you actually don't hear the phrases from the radio like you did with the old Shack Hacks. It's just white noise of the bandwidth switching. And we're listening, and people are asking questions, and something is replying that we should get out of the room, that something was coming. And out of nowhere, I got the phrase hayaku, which is Japanese for hurry up. And it was clear, myself and everyone else in our group, and there was about 8 people in the room, all heard it. It was obviously a word, but it was only I knew it because I understand Japanese. So it went along with all the rest of the phrases that were coming out of the box, being hurry up, get out. It wasn't get out in a menacing way. It was a get out in a warning. So I've investigated there. I have visited Habits Cafe, which is in Oakley, though the staff didn't really want to talk about anything during operation hours, which I don't blame them. I was just inquiring about it. And I have visited the Taft Museum during normal operation hours, which is said to be haunted. I have yet to actually visit Bobby Mackey's Music World, even though I live a stone's throw away from it, across the river. So, and those are just some locations. Sedumsville Rectory. How can I forget this? Oh, yeah. I was just there last month. Oh, that bizarrest ghost hunt I've ever been on.
What happened on that?
Oh man, I was there for 2 nights with Marley Gibson Burns and Patrick Burns. It was one of their ghost stock events. I have never heard of this building. I've lived in Cincinnati for about 5 years now. I'd never heard of the Sedumsville Rectory, even though I have all these books about the paranormal. So I saw they were coming by, and I really like ghost hunting with Patrick and Marley. They do a very good, thorough job. And they keep the groups calm so well. No one ever freaks out around them. The first night, the place was not very active. It was like we were in an old, dusty rectory. The rectory had been decommissioned in 1989 and sold into private hands. This was the last ghost hunt that I know of that could be possible this year because the residents of Sedumsville, the neighborhood, have requested that ghost hunts cease at the location because they're noisy. It is a residential neighborhood, and some paranormal groups were just too loud. So it's a historic district of Cincinnati. It is on the Register of Historic Places in the state. So I believe it's actually on the National Historic Register as well. But
I've never been on a loud ghost hunt.
Yeah, neither have I, but the neighbors were complaining. So I'm sure during breaks people go outside. It could be rather noisy, I'm sure. Very loud. Yeah. And I do know a lot of ghost hunters do tend to smoke. So you'd be outside, and the houses are very close together. So, but I'm not saying anyone who's a smoker is bad. I'm just saying. Well, I think the next scientific study actually ought to be the effect of cigarettes and Red Bull on paranormal investigators. Cigarettes, Red Bull, and Mountain Dew. And Mountain Dew and Twinkies. And Twinkies. Sugar and caffeine. What does it do to your brain? But the second night at Sedumsville, it was a much smaller group. There was only 6 of us. And we had shadow people, orb phenomenon, which I personally have not seen. I was not a very big believer in orbs, though they could, according to physics, can occur, but they're rare. But we were seeing things floating, like the traditional will-o'-the-wisps, the old folklore of those. These were self-illuminating balls of light that the light was reflecting off of the walls and the floor and the ceiling. And they were going through walls. And I was just
my very logical part of my brain was going, wow, this is fascinating. This is breaking all these rules of physics that I know of, because something cannot emit light and pass through matter at the same time, from what I understand. My husband is very knowledgeable about these things and explains it to me. So in words that an anthropologist can understand. We did see shadow people. We heard lots of disembodied voices. There was a shadow person who walked behind me, and according to Patrick and other people in the room, I couldn't see it, but it was waving its arms behind me. The only thing I could say is, just don't give me moose ears, because I don't need them. That'd be a little interesting, given moose ears by a shadow person. The piano, according to Patrick, played by itself a few notes before everyone arrived. They could hear things going on in the basement of rustling sounds. Given the size of rats here in Cincinnati, I'm going to assume it was one of those, because they can be like the size of a small possum. But yeah, it's wonderful.
They're like wharf rats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But lots of EVP, and I actually was just going through the audio shortly before joining Henry and UCC on Skype, and getting lots of get outs, I'm getting a lot of moans and breaths that are not contributed by any of the members, because somebody would be talking and somebody would breathe into my microphone, like they were just hovering over it. And when I record audio, I use a telephone pickup, because it eliminates all of that air static noise that you generally get.
Right.
So I've had somebody respond to Marley in a particular EVP. She says, hey, I'm doing an EVP session, and something not in our group responds, okay. So
okay, just let me know when you're done. So
yeah. And there have been, since there used to be priests and bishops, or at least priests that lived in the rectory, there was one man who did pass away while he lived at the rectory in 1866. And this was Father McLeod. And his residual spirit had been seen exiting out of the rectory and going towards the train tracks, where he accidentally got hit by a train one day in June. So that's the only really old paranormal claim to happen in this building. And it has managed to stay fresh in just in the lore of Sedumsville. So, and I like these older claims that are pre-internet, because they're more likely to, if you have people that have claimed to have seen this ghost in 1930s, 1920s, and it could be written up in newspapers, but if you have decades apart and you have little children or just people claiming to have seen this thing, it's less likely that they're going through the library looking for ghost stories to say they've seen.
Right.
Unlike the internet now, where you can have a Bloody Mary or a Resurrection Mary, Vanishing Hitchhiker, you can have one of those in every single road, because people are able to access these stories and embellish them so easily.
Now, all right, CC, you got anything yet?
Well, yeah, my question falls along the urban legend line, which is how much has the internet actually blown up the amount of ghost stories that are coming out of areas? You're right, every place seems to have a guy with a hook, Bunnyman Bridge, the Resurrection Mary stories. They seem to be popping up in every state.
Yeah, they are. I can't say how much is blown up, but it's one I do remember is the murders at and I even wrote about it in my haunted book. Well, my book's not haunted. Haunted Hoosier Halls. There is a urban legend that on Halloween night or any special night to a campus, that a serial killer is planning on killing so many students at a dormitory that is in the shape of an X. And at IU, this was going to happen at the new year in 1999. And it was going to be somebody dressed up like a old grandmother was going to come around and kill all these students in the dormitory. As the internet has grown, so has this particular urban legend, and it exists at every single university. It either at IU, it was going to attack at Reed Dormitory because Reed Dormitory is in the shape of an X with its wings. Another version of it, a person was going to attack a university with a W or an M in its name. So the University of Michigan and the University of Wisconsin actually did security measures in 1999 to make sure something like this didn't happen. Another popular legend, and this one actually was tracked by folklorists and anthropologists, is the Hatchet Man legend, or what's known as the roommate's death. And basically what happened, and I'm foggy on the year, I want to say 1966, in Chicago, there was a man who did kill, I believe, 7 nursing students just outside of Northwestern University.
Yeah. Richard Speck. Yeah.
Yes, the Richard Speck murders. Thank you. And one person did survive. This story, it was written up, and of course it was a national hoopla. It has managed to get into many nursing schools or doctor schools, medical schools, as an urban legend, and has kind of morphed into the roommate's death. And for listeners who don't know, the roommate's death has 2 girls who are roommates. One of them, well, both of them end up being stuck in their dormitory during Thanksgiving or Christmas break, sometimes spring break, when all the other students leave, but only these 2 girls are left in the entire dormitory, which in today's world is completely implausible because there would be at least an RA there, if not more. Anyway, the girls, one of them is very tenacious and says, I'm not afraid of this axe murderer who's being reported on stalking people around the campus right now. I'm going to go out to the place with all the bars and have fun. And the more homely roommate says, I'm going to stay here and hunker down because I don't want to die. So the tenacious roommate goes off and has fun and gets herself killed in one way or another. At IU, it's a man with a hatchet. At other places, it's a gun or rope or a knife. It's a candlestick in the library with Professor Plum. It's you just add whatever you want or subtract whatever you don't like, and you still have the roommate's death. The roommate somehow survives, the tenacious roommate somehow survives this attack. She claws her way all the way to her dorm and is clawing at the door, trying to get in. Can't say a word, only gargles come out of her mouth because she has been injured, blunt force trauma with an axe. The roommate that remained in the room is scared, thinks it's the hatchet man, doesn't open the door and hides in the closet until morning when the police come and knock on her door and inform her that the roommate has passed away in front of her door and there are bloody scratches in the woodwork.
Wow.
Yes.
Those are some of the urban legends.
Yes. And that one is very popular, and it exists not only in the United States but on some campuses outside in Europe, and it's actually, there's a version of it in Japan which is not too different. Other than an axe, instead it's a knife, and the girl gets killed. So it's reaching, and that one's fairly new. It started being popular in Japan in the 90s.
Well, now, speaking of urban legends, there are quite a few around Ohio here. And in the chat room, we have Ohio Dave, who has also written a book about some of the urban legends around the Cincinnati area also.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had him on the show, and he's been a couple places with me in investigating. He's also done the old farmhouse that I used to go to all the time. He's been over a few times with me. So, but some of the urban legends that are around Cincinnati, have you got to check any of those out?
I am in the process of doing that, actually. Cincinnati has become my new home, and I've started a show on Blip TV called the Urban Legends Tour, which I plan on visiting a lot of locations with urban legends in it, such as Eden Park. You have the Eden Park ghost of the woman in her Model T driving through and crashing near the, I almost called it a pagoda, the gazebo in the middle. Oh man, I'm getting
really tall gazebo.
Yeah, it's really tall gazebo. Let's see. There's also Maud Road. There's the Oxford cyclist ghost that can be seen, I believe, is December 21st or 12th. I am getting my date mixed up, but is a residual spook light that people have seen. I know James Willis has investigated it with his paranormal team. And for those who don't know, James Willis is another Ohio author. He wrote Weird Ohio and Weird Indiana. So, other ghost stories. There's so many crybaby bridges.
Oh,
I do one.
You have those everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Devil's Churches, Hell's Gates, out in Batavia or Coleraine Township.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wanted to ask you about a cemetery group, and don't laugh, but I think they're called the Crabites.
Oh, gosh, them. Crabites.
At least you didn't laugh.
I'm sitting here and I'm just rolling my eyes. I'm like, Step Cemetery. Them. Actually, not too long ago, I was just talking about type of ritual type graffiti that people have found around at their different abandoned houses. But the Crabites, they were around Step Cemetery, which is just outside of Martinsville and Bloomington off of Highway 37. It is one of 6 cemeteries in the Morgan Monroe State Forest, and it's named for the Stepp family who settled the area in the 1850s by Reuben Stepp out of, I believe, the Carolinas. What else do you want to know about them? They're actually just urban legend. There's only one sheriff who has claimed to run across them, and that was back in the early part of the 20th century. I could not find anything on the existence of this particular cult.
Interesting, because they were supposedly taking up residence in that cemetery.
There used to be a log cabin there that was the old church. So, but that's been torn down in the 1960s. It was unstable. The wood, the logs just couldn't.
Does that particular cemetery seem to have more activity in it?
It does have a lot of occult activity. I know there's a stump in the middle of the cemetery. And to briefly explain the urban legend that is in the cemetery, there is a lady in black that is said to sing lullabies to her child, baby Lester. And there is a old pine tree stump that is in the middle of the cemetery. And legend goes that the woman in black will be seen walking from the road up to the cemetery, sits down on the stump, and sings lullabies to her baby. And people have claimed to have seen her ever since the 1960s. And the Crabites predated this ghost story. Some people say that the lady in black passed away with her far after her husband and this baby died in either a carriage wagon accident or a car accident, and both the husband and the baby are buried there. And it is true, Mr. Lester and the baby are buried next to each other, but there is no female buried anywhere near them. And in my book, I do have a picture of their headstones, which lie flat, flush to the ground. So the woman is said to sing lullabies. The problem is that the stump that currently exists is about 50 feet away from the headstones. So unless she is screaming lullabies from the top of her lungs, I can't understand how she would be singing them to that particular headstone.
The operatic version.
Look, everyone, it's Lady Gaga in the middle of the cemetery.
Maybe the trees just branched out.
Yeah, maybe. Well, what it is that the original stump that is in the urban legend does not exist anymore. It was uprooted by there was two gentlemen, and their names are eluding me right now. The Wells, they owned a lumber yard. And their family, after the Stepp family, the Wells family actually purchased and eventually sold the land to the state of Indiana. But the cemetery itself is part of the Stepp Wells family. And these two gentlemen were part descendants of the original farmers of the area. They owned a lumber yard. And when lightning struck a tree, I believe it was a birch tree, that actually created this stump that looked like a chair. It actually looked more like a love seat because it was a double growing birch tree. That was removed in the mid 80s because of wood rot. So the stump that you see today is a newer tree that had to be taken down because of lightning strike. It is disgusting to touch because some of the urban legends that I did collect, people urinate on this stump. They burn. Why? Because they think they're being cool and dissing the woman in black who doesn't exist. I know there's lots of candle wax on a lot of the headstones, especially on this stump, from rituals. The candle wax that I found was a multitude of colors, from white to red to black, green, you name it. I found candle wax, other paraphernalia that I would assume would go along with occult activities.
Well, fortunately, Marla has an alibi because.
Yeah, but what's really sad and upsets me the most about this cemetery is there's only one original Stepp family headstone intact in the cemetery. There were over 170 people buried there from that family over the past century. And we only got one headstone. Wow. Because high schoolers and college students would take them as souvenirs. And a few of them landed in the Martinsville High School pool as a senior prank.
Wow.
So
sad.
Actually, just the surname Stepwell sounds very Dickensian for a surname.
Yeah. The Stepp family.
Yeah.
And then the Walls family. Yeah. There was another one in between them, but most of the people buried there are Stepp or Walls family. One was I believe a physics teacher at Indiana University, and I love his headstone epitaph says "never at rest," which is a physics joke because particles never rest.
Right.
I would think it'd also be a musical joke too.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, that would make more sense. But he was a physics teacher.
Well, our time is zipping right along. So I think what we'll do is we'll end up taking us another generous break. Let everybody stretch your legs, save their voice, and get ready for the last part of the show, which I still have questions, and I'm sure that Cece should have at least 4 or 5 more.
I do.
And I'm sure that Jeff has probably got some too, but he's kind of busy writing the show up, so.
and getting ready to do outros.
Yeah, well, yeah. At least for this week, anyway. So, so why don't you go ahead and take us out, Jeff?
Okay. Well, you're listening to the Paranormal View on power-x.com with our guest Kat Klockow and tonight's co-host Cece Barbara Duncan. So stay tuned, or during your slumber, Kat may send over to your place for one-time visiting black-eyed kids.
Para-X is your source for everything paranormal.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Paranormal View right here on the Para-X Radio Network. I want to welcome everybody back. The chat room has got lots of people in there, and there's a couple 100,000 listening from around the world. Speaking of that, tonight I want to thank the listeners. We have them from the U.S., from Ireland, from the UK, from Switzerland, And from that one place called Other, we have 7 of them. So, welcome. But if you're not here with us in the chat room, come over to para-x.com and join us in the chat room. You'll have a great time in here with all these wonderful people. So I want to welcome back Kat Klockow.
Hello.
And Cece.
Hello.
And Jeffrey.
Hello.
Yeah, all right. Great show tonight. Everybody seems to really be enjoying it. So I do have quite a few questions and stuff, and I know Cece's got a bunch left. So if you've got one you want to start out with, or you want me to start out, that's fine.
Oh, go ahead, Henry.
Oh, well, thank you.
Actually, I have Ohio Dave simply made a non sequitur reference earlier. I was curious about whether Kat could Minor Avenue in Lindenwold.
Oh yeah, that's it's a private residence. They won't let anybody go in there to investigate. Lots of people has tried, but no one has ever been successful getting in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have the house foreclosed and just take it for ourselves. Oh wait, no.
Well, now I do know that Kat has investigated a few places. She's been with me a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
We did a couple private residences, and we also did the Post Town School.
Yes. I forgot to mention that when you asked me about Cincinnati haunts.
And,
Post Town Elementary School.
Yep. That is a spooky looking place, kind of, but they're also going to be having the Mid-Ohio Paranormal Convention there. And
yep.
I believe that is, and I wrote it down just so I wouldn't forget it.
I believe it's April 27th, 28th, and maybe the 29th.
That's it, yes.
Yeah.
And
During my birthday weekend? What?
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
So there's going to be lots of great people there, and you'll be able to also do an investigation with them. The Booth Brothers is going to be there, Rick Hayes, just on and on and on. You can go just type in Mid-Ohio Conference, and you can see the guest list that they're going to have. Keith Age is going to be there. So we also, we was in Music Hall in Cincinnati.
Yes. Oh, man. Why did I forget that one, too?
I did not get to investigate there, but it seemed to be a pretty nice place. But they said that there is some ghosts that are in there.
Oh, if there was any place that would be prime for ghost hunting, it's the Cincinnati Music Hall, because it is located on top of several feet of human bones.
Mm-hmm. Used to be a graveyard.
It was a pauper's grave.
Yep.
Before that, it was an orphanage and an insane asylum.
Right.
So when they just finished, I believe, the Washington Avenue parking garage, and when they were excavating it, they were taking out just bins and bins full of human remains, because that entire area is just littered with skeletons, just feet from the surface of the ground. And I was able to go into the actual basement of the music hall. It's just a ground floor that complete below all the stages, below where they hold all of the any backdrops or anything. And it's just, it feels like sand. It's soil that is very, very, very dry. And you can see bones poking out of it in certain locations still. So
now, did you get to do the Sorg Opera House?
No, I have not been able to do the Sorg Opera House. I have driven past it and taken pictures, but I have not been inside of it.
That was the first place I ever actually got to do. And matter of fact, Tim Shaw, who is in the chat room, was there with me, and he taught me how to wear the Pampers and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mentioned to Tim that we mentioned him earlier in the show.
Well, you can't do a show unless you mention Tim, period. That's on the top of the list of the rules. So, but our time is just scooting right on by, so I want to kind of catch some of this other stuff up. Indiana. What is one of the most active places in your book, Haunted Hoosier Halls?
In the book, the most active place? That's a very good question. Ironically, I'm not going to say it's anywhere on IU's campus. So I'm going to say out of everything, it's either going to be the Story Inn or the Crump Theater. One of those two.
The Story Inn. That's kind
of... The Story Inn.
Isn't that out in the country?
It is. It's in Brown County.
Yes. Not too far from where I believe Karen, it's where her mom and dad lives. I believe it's just down the road from there, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We all got to go over there to her house and have a big cookout one time.
Oh, fun.
And it is out in the boondocks. So, but it was real nice. Everybody had a great time. We was doing that because we were all going to do the Crump Theater. Mm-hmm. And you've done the Crump?
I have been there several times, yes.
Yes?
Yes.
How haunted is the Crump?
I won't say it's the most haunted place, but you'll probably get some activity there when you visit. There's several different entities that are said to haunt the building. No one knows exactly why. The most frequently encountered ghost is the man in the brown suit, who is an African-American gentleman who haunts what is now the storage rooms, but when he was alive, it would be where the segregated seating was located.
That's like the Sorg. The Sorg Opera House also had a segregated seating up in the balcony. So they had some of the same stuff like that there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He is by far the phantom that people see, and he's a full-bodied apparition. People have seen him walk into there. One person opened the storage room door to find him standing on the other side, and he just took a step to the right and faded into the inky darkness of the storage room.
Nice room to get out of the way.
Yeah. People have had their hair not pulled but lifted up, kind of like static electricity, except for they'll have just one or two strands out of their entire head stick up straight. People have heard sounds, footsteps rattling on the air ducts up there, although the air would be turned off. The sound of rain when it's not raining outside. Those are the most commonly attributed things to the storage room. There's also a girl that is said to, a female spirit who is said to haunt the dressing rooms, which are directly underneath the stage. And I've actually, the only time I've ever been touched was I got a good jabbing poke in my left shoulder blade by something. And it was during Paranormal Fest, I think 2009, before my book was out. I was just there as an attendee. And listening to somebody talk about the history of the Crump and the ghost hunts he had done there, and I could feel this jab in my shoulder blade. And I look around behind me I knew there was one woman who was standing behind me, but she was actually to my right, not to my left. But she saw the indentation of the hoodie go down and press down, and she was white as a sheet. And she immediately just started taking pictures of my back, and people were looking at my back. It was really kind of embarrassing when you think about it. People taking pictures of your behind. But it's what happened.
Well, I don't think they were shooting that far down, I think.
I hope not.
Unless you were unless it was the guy, not the girl, who poked you, then.
No. But the story of the girl in the dressing room basement is very popular because it apparently scared a electrician's apprentice when back in 2002, when the building was being reopened to be used as a historic theater. Rovane Quigley is the events manager there. She was talking to the electrician who was checking out all the cable to make sure the crump wasn't going to burn down if somebody turned on a toaster. So he had an apprentice who actually went down and was reading, I guess, electricity and making sure he knew which wires were live and which ones were not, and inspecting the wiring. And he apparently, this apprentice, walked right into and met face to face with this female spirit. And it startled him so much that he finished doing whatever he had to do and hurriedly ran up stage left staircase and got out of there.
At least he's finished his job.
Yeah, at least he finished.
Stayed and finished, yeah.
I say kudos to him. But there's also EVP people have picked up. I know I've seen a video of what looks like a misty silhouette of a person walk out of the storage rooms on the balcony, and you can see him push down his hand on one of the cushions for the chairs, because they're the ones that automatically pop up, just like in any theater. You can see it fold down, and then he sits in it and disappears. And this video is taken by Midwest researchers and investigators of paranormal activity.
When he disappears, does the seat stay down, or does it pop back up?
It stays down.
So they didn't think to just go sit next to him and say, so what do you think of the show?
I don't think they did that. I think they were just stunned that they captured this on video. But I know people have gotten EVP of other parties that cannot be seen saying jump off the balcony. Yeah, it's a lot of interesting things go on at the Crump. I enjoy it thoroughly. I know there's a hat man. There's a shadow person that has a top hat. I'm sure you've heard of those being reported.
Top hats or shadow people? I've heard of both.
There's a kind of a subset of shadow people known as hatmen, and they show up. They look like normal shadow people, but they look like they're wearing a top hat or a bowler cap.
Yeah.
And I've seen one in my parents' house, actually, and then again at Mansfield Reformatory. And there's another one said to be at the Crump Theater, and one of my friends, when investigating, took a picture of the mirror in the ladies' room. And actually, it's in the powder area, powder lounge. It's not actually where all the toilets are. And there's a picture of a man wearing a bowler cap you can see in the mirror. And the photo, she let me use it for the book.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, you had some pretty good experiences at Mansfield Reformatory Memory Service.
Yes.
That's a pretty active place, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I will say, anyone who has not been there, I will tell you there are a lot of bats that live there.
Yay!
We have a lot of bats floating around everywhere.
Yes. Prospect Place Mansion was just as bad with the bats.
Really?
But yes. But I actually, at Mansfield, I'm walking through back to the bullpen, and that's the HQ refreshment area of the penitentiary that groups use. And there's this one dark hallway that used to be the old intake area for all new prisoners. And I'm walking through, and I have a LED flashlight, and I must have disturbed a bat because it came right at me, and I got a little bit of bat wing in my mouth.
Aw.
Oh, yeah. It was like a Matrix moment. I'm slowly trying to bend out of the way, and the bat's wing just manages to get into my mouth a little bit. Oh, that was disgusting. At Mid-South last year, I was talking to one of the caretakers at Mansfield, and he told me that bat's name is Igor. They've named the bats.
Wow.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, Jim, I got to meet Igor. But at Mansfield, shadow person has popped up in front of me in the chapel. I was doing an investigation in the old, where there's the shower rooms. They're the old hole, or the second hole, not the original place where they keep solitary confinement, but the newer place on the first level. And we were talking. I was in a group of 5 with only one man in it, and we were doing an EVP session, and there was a sensitive in our group, and she said she could feel male presence, and I'm like, yes, that's probably Chris, which is the gentleman. But as we're asking questions about just life as an inmate, we asked some very sensitive questions about man-on-man action, I guess you can say.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa. And we got the sound of weeping and crying out of one of the rooms.
Wow.
Right next to us. And it was the area where one of the men were killed. I believe it was one of the guards was killed in that area. Exactly the same place where we heard the weeping. And it was a man crying. It wasn't a female weep or moan. It was a man. And that was, I'm going to say, probably disturbing. Because you realize that these people were very much alive at one time, and they could very much be with you. And you're reliving traumatic events with them. It's you feel sorry for them.
Now, did Mansfield have a death chamber?
I do not believe so. They were a reformatory. They did not want to execute people. That prison actually is in Columbus on, I believe, the Citibank Arena now sits on top of it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Mansfield, no one was supposed to be executed there.
Yeah.
But how many deaths did occur?
And that one, I don't know off the top of my head. I know there are nooses that are original. They've never been taken down. That are on, I believe, the East Cell Block's attic, where they did used to house some inmates that were there for very petty crimes that they didn't think were going to be very aggressive. And it was bunks, just like at summer camp, would be in that attic. If you go further enough down, you can see the old nooses. And legend had it that some of the more problematic cases in the reformatory, the guards would do off with them.
In other words, what
None
happened
of
to him?
that's official records.
Yeah, what
this
happened
is
to him? I
completely
don't know.
urban legend.
He must have hung himself.
Yes, must have accidentally done it in the shower. There's also lots of wild geese, and people who have investigated with me will know the thing I am scared of the most is wildlife coming to attack me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you were just scared of geese, which is, well, that's kind of funny in itself. But I mean, taking into account, it depends on how you approach them. Really, my mom was playing golf once, and near a water hazard were a number of geese that had a nest right there, and her ball and her friend's ball landed right by the nest. And my mother walked up, and she literally spoke to the geese, saying, "All I want to do is hit my ball, and I'll be out of your way." The geese just look at her. Mom hits the ball, goes away. Her friend just walks up to her own ball. The geese chased her with its mouth open because she didn't get permission.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
Geese are often used as guardians or attack. Yeah. They're quite territorial.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
And they can punch those wings. We had Canada geese back in the pond where I used to live in Montclair when I did animal control, and there was some kind of bacteria in the thing, and it started killing the geese. And sometimes, and occasionally they'd get hit by cars. I'd have to pick them up. And there were times that they would just haul off and just whirl before you realized that you were, on your back, being punched across the head.
Wow.
Well, now, as I was saying about your book, Haunted Hoosier Halls, it's a great book. So if you don't have it, you need to pick one up. And Kat's going to tell you in a little bit here where you can actually get a copy of it at. So
Yes.
Now, did you go to Morrison Lodge in Elizabethtown, Kentucky?
Yes, I have been there.
Uh-huh.
I love it.
Because I seen a picture on your page, and I said, that's Morrison Lodge. And I've been there, I don't know, 3 times, I think, something like that. So
Yes.
I'll be going back again. I think I don't remember exactly when it is. It's in May, I think it is, I believe.
Okay. No, I love Morrison. I've ghost hunted there and the Shriners Church that's next door to it.
Yeah, the one back behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fascinating place. I really loved it.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is.
Mm-hmm. I encountered the little girl.
Did you?
That was, yes.
Mm-hmm. I believe her name
around. Sorry?
Was it Sarah?
I believe so. The little one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was there. I had just purchased a pair of mini dowsing rods, and I was, I guess, experimenting with them. And somehow, around 2:30 in the morning, we got this girl laughing. She was giggling at us and singing a little bit. And some of the Masons were with me by this time. Most of the paid the investigators that had paid to go on this ghost hunt through Mid-South had left by then, and it was just myself and I believe Louisville ghost hunters were still there, the hosts, and then some of the Masons who had never done a ghost hunt before, and they were completely amazed to get this voice of a little girl who obviously physically wasn't in the building, but spiritually apparently was.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Cece, you got any more questions here?
Oh, I have a bunch.
Oh, well, time's run out now.
I know.
We've got over almost 15 minutes. Well,
yeah, well.
Well, the one thing being in the Midwest, such as you are, and on that river, whether you've had a chance to look at any of the riverboats.
I have not. I have managed to ride a riverboat. It didn't feel very haunted, but that is a really good question and something that should be looked into. One of the riverboats, the old ones, has been retired and I believe is permanently docked here, but I'm not sure.
A great place to start.
Yeah, and that one, I would have to work through Newport or Covington, Kentucky, because all the riverboats are actually stationed on that side of the Ohio River, the Kentucky side. So
that's the side with bedding, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
With bedding? What, for sleeping? What?
No, bedding as in gambling.
Oh, betting with a T.
I don't believe gambling's illegal in Ohio, but it is in Indiana and Kentucky.
You go over to Indiana, yeah. You go down the river in Indiana, and you got about 3 casinos.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't just living in Indiana a gamble? Oh, wait.
No. As long as you like corn, you're okay in Indiana.
Well, actually, I could tell you that, traveling through Illinois, you get to Indiana when the roads start improving.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
So you're saying the roads in Illinois are pretty bad, huh?
They're pretty bad.
Also, the speed limit goes up.
Very bad.
Like 65 to 70 in Indiana.
That's fixing to do that here in Ohio, too, hopefully. Yeah.
Well, that's because most of the original highways were actually designed for that velocity, and the false energy crisis in the 70s when they dropped it down to 55 was just nonsense. I mean, apart from essentially using more gas by going slower and getting into traffic jams because no one was getting home in time.
Yeah.
And also, if we can go back to Indiana, and again, the urban legends. Phi Kappa Tau.
Okay, yeah.
I think you mentioned in your book. And also, the girl being dumped in the basement, which I guess is actually more tunnels.
Yeah, okay. Phi Kappa Tau is a fraternity, I believe. There was a few of them that I had to write about, but they are the ones that have managed to pop up. Yeah, Phi Kappa Tau pop up in numerous ghost stories. Mm-hmm. I don't know if their fraternity is haunted or just has bad luck, but they've managed to have 2 of the locations that are horribly, horribly haunted B, they're fraternity houses, and none of the hauntings are actually attributed to them. They just happen to live there. The first one was the Buskirk Showers Mansion, which is now a lawyer's office, and no paranormal group can ever get in there to investigate, even though stuff does apparently still happen there. The other one being what is now the Career Development Center, or the CDC, on IU's campus, and that's the one that had the doctor that would perform illegal surgeries on women back before the 70s, to a lot of the co-eds that liked the boys a lot. So that one is, the CDC is, IU will definitely not comment on if that place is haunted or not. I've been there a few times. The staff won't talk about it, which is funny because Indiana University is the first university with a folklore department and generally takes their hauntings pretty well in stride. They used to actually have a ghost tour, a historical ghost tour through the campus. But with regards to the CDC, you have the girl who died on the operating table who is said to haunt it. You have the original owner who is said to haunt the basement after he committed suicide using a gun. You have the doctor who did the surgeries who hung himself from the top banister. And he's the one most people see or get touched by. And
now,
he has to be something scary.
There's also an asylum near Bloomington, isn't there?
You mean Central State?
State?
Yeah. That is in Indianapolis proper. It's about an hour away. I haven't been able to ever visit it. It actually does house the Indiana University Medical Museum, which I want to go to because I like things like that, all creepy.
Just seeing lots of pointy, sharp things.
Yeah, pointy, sharp things, tumors and formaldehyde from the 19th century, Siamese twins, all sorts of stuff like that. And I'm like, ooh, that's fascinating and macabre. And my husband's like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that because I want to keep my lunch. So...
do it before lunch.
Yeah, do it before lunch. Bye-bye breakfast. The rest of the Central State building, there have been rumors that it has been purchased, will be torn down, and eventually turned into apartments. This has been around for about a decade, and nothing has yet happened. I don't know if it's just slow going. I don't know the story. I don't live in Indianapolis, so I don't have...
What is it about places that are reputed so well known as haunted, really active, especially with a lot of like the suicides you're talking about? What is it about that area that everyone wants to just, I've had enough? But
I want to make condos out of that.
Yeah, let's make condos out of these places that people are getting, weeping men and screaming whatever and pokes and stuff. I'm like, they're doing the same with Linda Vista Hospital locally here. It's been bought out by a developer. I was one of the last investigations through there, and the developer ran into some kind of legal problem. So they're making the psych ward, which apparently is supposed to be even more haunted than the regular hospital, into the apartments first. Then they're going to try and get to the main hospital, but they're going to gut the place and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, nothing calms it goes down more than renovations.
Well, it's just like the Charles Gate Hotel in Boston. One of the most haunted locations, and also some of the most prime real estate in the Back Bay area of Boston. And I actually have it on my list of places that you would love to investigate, but just can't. And that one's been said to be haunted for almost more than a century now. But no one has ever done a private investigation of any of the residences there. So... yeah, with Central State, it's very spooky. The director that I worked with when I was filming Ghost Stories 4, Dan T. Hall, he made a paranormal documentary before the one I was in called just Central State. And it's a fantastic video to watch, and had all sorts of weird things go on while filming, faces appearing in curtains, shadow people, orb phenomena. you name it. He has a lot of stories from filming there.
Wow.
I believe he was the last person who legally filmed on the premises too. But don't hold me to that claim. That's just what I heard.
Time has just run right on by us. So, I got a few things that I want to do, and then I'm going to give everybody a chance to give all their details and information and all the other good stuff. But the Paranormal View does have a couple announcements to make. This is our last show. I scared everybody, didn't I?
My heart stopped. That was April Fool's was last week, Henry.
No.
It was last week.
I do want to let some people know some things here. Craig Rupp has stepped down from being host here on the Paranormal View. He wanted to take some time off. That doesn't mean that he's not going to be back. In a few months, he will, from time to time, come in and be a fill-in co-host for us. Now, because of that, we have done some other things. I think everybody liked Kat Klockow. She is a very, very good talker. She's a good author. And she gets to travel a lot, and she's going to be getting a whole lot of good guests for us because Kat Klockow is now going to be on the Paranormal View team as a co-host.
Thank you, everyone.
Yay!
I'm so excited.
And Cece, also known as Barbara Duncan, is also going to be with the Paranormal View as a fill-in co-host for us because there's going to be lots of times when Jeff or Kat can't be here, and Cece is going to be jumping right in. So we want to welcome Kat, and we want to welcome Cece to the Paranormal View. Yay!
Yay!
All right.
And there was much rejoicing.
So I hope y'all really lift these guys up and give them support and stand in there with them because they're both good and they're really going to help the Paranormal View. So because I can't ask all these questions, I mean, now I'll have somebody else that can ask a few. So with that though, since our time is running right on down, before we give everything, I'm going to give Kat a chance and Cece a chance to say anything that they'd like to say. So, Kat, why don't you go first?
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. And I have a few convention announcements to make and a fun Urban Legends internet show to announce. The first one is the Urban Legends Tour, which is if you like the ghost stories and stories of the strange and spooky from around Cincinnati and the Midwest, and hopefully further than that, I will be starting the show Friday, the 13th of April, with Bloody Mary being the first topic. Now, if anyone has their own Bloody Mary legends that they would like to share, you can email me at my web address, katklockow@gmail.com. That is spelled KATKLOCKOW@gmail.com. If you have a Bloody Mary legend that you would love to share with me, I am all ears. I have a few conventions that I'll also be going to, a few in May, and then one in July and one in August. The first one coming up is Frontier Paracon at the Haunted Stanley Hotel from May 4th through the 6th. And if you Google Frontier Paracon, you will find all of the event information. I am very excited because I am a guest speaker. I'll be talking about urban legends from around the United States, probably black-eyed kids and getting more Bloody Mary stories. I just love Bloody Mary. She's so freaky. Anyway, the second event is Paranormal Fest at the Crump Theater, my little home away from home in Indiana. That is May 18th and 19th, and yet again, I will be a guest there. I'll be at my booth selling copies of my book and showing clips from my new internet show. The other events I'll be at are both meet and greets, which mean they are free for you guys to come in and talk to everyone at. The first one is the Haunted Hannah House in Indianapolis, Indiana, August 11th. The meet and greet is from noon till about 4 p.m. And the second one is Willow's Weep Paranormal Meet and Greet. Meet and greet. And that is July 21st, and I am a guest at that. And Willow's Weep is a fairly new haunted location that has become open to the public. And that is it, except for my mention of my website, www.huntforghosts.com. I just uploaded a whole bunch of photos from the Saddamsville Rectory here in Cincinnati, Ohio, along with some questionable audio that I have collected. Is it EVP? Is it not? I would love to hear what you guys think. And that's all I have. So I'm going to turn it over to Cece.
You can find me in the ParaX chat room most of the time, or just look up on the ceiling. I should be there, maybe in a corner. Maybe you'll see me, maybe you won't. Leave out some cheeseburgers. Check over to my Facebook page if you want to see some great cemetery photography, which I hope to have posted onto a different website soon. So keep your fingers crossed. Back to you, Henry.
Oh, so quickly.
We're efficient like that, Henry.
Well, you left out Jeffrey. Jeffrey's got at least 4 minutes worth of stuff.
No, actually, my own website is jeffgould.net, GEOFFGOULD.net. And if you add /2011PNV.htm, that's my hub for all the reports I do on the various Paranormal View editions. You can read the topics and links to their book. In fact, Kat's book, Haunted Hoosiers, link will be on that page, as well as to her website and her graphic novel, Mary Gray, which she completely forgot to mention, and links to CC's Facebook, because apparently you can't find Barbara Duncan. There are too many of them.
There's a lot of us. Yes.
Some sort of a cull. We need to do some sort of a cull. If you want to have your own Paranormal View paraphernalia and attire, you can go to cafepress.com/realbadgershop, all one word. And the Paranormal View's website is theparanormalview.com. And just do a search on Facebook for Paranormal View. There we are. And I'm at Facebook. You can just add facebook.com and add jeffrey.gould, and there I am. Hooray. And my name is GEOFFREY, like Jeffrey Rush or Jeffrey Giraffe. I don't spell it the American way, just so you know.
And you also have theparanormalview.com, where I try to post our upcoming show. And
at least once a month. Oh, wait.
Yeah, well, I've been a little slow, but, you know, I'm going to get better at it. We're still working on some things. You'll have bios on there, and we'll be adding Kat's and CC's on there, so you'll be able to go on there and see everything. And if you're looking for Barbara Duncan on Facebook, you can go find me on Facebook and go to my friends. Barbara is in there, and you can click on that and add her through that. So you can do the same with Kat Klockow, too.
Yeah, I'm at facebook.com/Kat Klockow.
Yep.
And I believe Ceiling Kat's name on Facebook is Ellen.Smithy, SMYTHEE.
Which Jeff would get the joke.
I do get the joke. I think that's brilliant.
Well, with that, our time has just slipped right on by. Next week, I will have a guest lined up. I'm not sure exactly who yet, but I now have a whole bunch of people that's out looking for them, so I'm sure we will have somebody for next week. So, until then, it's about time for us to jump off, and I want to thank everybody for listening tonight, those here on ParaX and those listening from around the world. And I want to thank Kat Klockow. Great job, and thanks again, CC and Jeffrey. And so we're going to be jumping off, and this is Henry Foister,
Jeffrey Gould,
Kat Klockow,
and Ceiling Kat.
All right. Good night, everybody.
visit us again if you dare. You've been listening to the Paranormal View on the Para X Radio Network.